Good evening and welcome to Social Media Fridays. Each week we meet here to wind down and talk about what happened this week in the world of social media. With us today we have social media dynamo Tony McCreath. Tony hails from Adelaide in South Australia. Tim Capper hails from the UK. Tim is online. Well, what can I say? Tim is a conversion rate optimization specialist. He's an SEO and a social media queen.
Queen.
Masataki Wasa is webmaster of what'saweb.net, and he's also a Google top contributor on the AdSense and the Google Plus help communities. Each week we add topics of interest to the Social Media Fridays community, and now we discuss them. First one is about a startup called Secret App, apparently worth 100 million. It received a lot of funding, but they're shutting it down because it's become a haven for bullies. I think Tony McCreath wants to talk about that.
Oh, that wasn't my post. Who posted that one?
That was Edwin Yonks.
Oh, right. Right. I just learned about Secret now. I guess it was a good secret. From what I read, they were using it and they tweaked it and tried to improve it on. Oh well, the basics of it is that you can post anonymously, so nobody knows who does posts. So they started getting problems like the bullying and people using it to just say nasty things about people, defamation stuff and things like that. And they put effort in to try and stop that. And they decided to fail fast, as in pull the plug. They're even going to give investors money back. So it's an interesting move to give up before you spend all the money, which is probably a good move.
Would you give the 100 million back, Tim Capper?
Yeah, I'd probably give the 100 million back.
Okay.
After I spent it.
All right. Any other comments on this one?
And I mean, there's a lot of these. There's a lot of these things out there. I can't remember them. There was that one case last year, wasn't there, with that Facebook app, social media thing. What's the name? I can't quite remember, but a lot of my daughter actually got caught up in that. It was connected. You connected via Facebook, and of course, being a responsible parent, like most parents, you keep an eye on what's going on Facebook, obviously. But all these kids were then using this gateway app to disappear into another little secret, chat place thing, where, same again, completely anonymous. And yeah, I mean, the bullying and stuff, was just phenomenal. Yeah, so these things. These things are bad. They should never come to light, even.
Yeah.
What was that, Tim?
Someone was yawning.
No, okay.
I don't know.
No, it is one of the sort of scourges or curses of modern life, isn't it? That there are apps like this and Whisper that promise anonymity, but in a close group of people, you probably can guess who's talking about whom. And it's immediate and it snowballs into something bigger. Because just think about it. Before, if you had to have sort of rumor mill, gossip, etc., you either had to get people in the same place physically, and so they can gossip, or talk something bad about someone else. Or if it's a phone, it's usually one-to-one. So it takes time for the news to spread, and sort of there is a kind of law of gossip dynamics which dies down a bit beyond a certain point. Whereas something like this, it can quite easily get out of hand, out of control, because people are responding, perhaps, the things getting more serious. So it is, I think, tough nowadays to be a child. I mean, I wouldn't want to be growing up now with all these things around you, to be honest. I don't know how children cope.
Yeah.
No, it's a nightmare. And I mean, especially, I mean, in my daughter's case, it was so easy because someone basically said something to another person who then in the message kind of worded it and left little sort of sneaky things intimating that if somebody obviously put it together that it was coming from my daughter, which it hadn't done, which created a whole load of mess. Oh my Lord. And it was like, phone calls to parents, and God, it was an absolute nightmare trying to get that sorted. But she learned a lesson. She doesn't even go on Facebook anymore. So, I suppose if there was one positive coming out of it, it was that. But
there'll always be another. All right, let's move on from this one, will we? And the last, at first I thought this was one for Mark Trepagan, LO.co, but this is LO with an H from Facebook. What do you know about this one?
Well, I posted it. From what I understand, this one's basically a app for your smartphone that takes over your phone call bit, the actual phone bit of your phone, and it doesn't seem to do a massive amount of stuff. It basically links Facebook information into the contact information it can display when you call. So it'll pull out Facebook profiles, that sort of thing. The most interesting thing I saw was you can block people, but even more interesting is if someone comes up, it'll tell you how many people have blocked them. So you get an instant impression of how popular that person is, even if you don't know who it is. I'm sure that fails because most people are doing they're blocking phone numbers anyhow, and without that, Facebook can't do anything. I think it's their move to try and further get themselves integrated into smartphones. And there was the rumor that Facebook had their own phone. I think this is what they were doing. They're not doing their own phone, they're just totally trying to take over other phones. That's my take.
Any other comments on this one?
What was the Mark Trepagan thing?
Well, Mark Trepagan declared that LO.co was the next Facebook killer. He had Masataki enthralled. You signed up, didn't you, Masataki?
No. No, I did. No, I haven't signed up to either LO.co or Sue.co, so no, I don't have the time.
All right. Well, if there's no further business, or is there any further business? Anything else to add to the agenda today? Because I think this is our last question. I think we only had the two. Yes. Thank you for watching.
Well, I've got one kind of. I've been away for, I don't know, 3 months. So in that time, what is the biggest social media news things that have happened? The ones that are worth remembering, so you can catch me up on it all.
3 months.
I think it's been around then. So,
Gosh. It's so difficult now to remember things. I mean,
on our time scale, has
yeah.
Google's still here? I noticed that. Google Plus.
Yeah, it's still here.
I think it probably died 3 times since you've been away.
Yeah. The
and
Twitter
then-
share prices have crashed, but that was very recent.
But Google's share price has gone down.
No, Twitter.
All right. Yeah.
Twitter
actually,
lost a fifth of its value in a day.
I heard that, but Twitter's opened up their, what do they call it, hose to Google again.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting one. That, and I also heard that Google and Twitter, or what's the advertising thing of Google? The DoubleClick.
Yeah.
That's being linked with Twitter. So I'm wondering if that's some sort of quid pro quo.
Yeah, and Twitter is trying to ramp up its advertisements as well. They have that new Twitter ad card, is it? I can't remember what it's called, but that's being pushed out at the moment.
So we're probably going to see some changes in Twitter, I guess, at the moment then. That's all rolling out. So, and it gives Twitter more exposure on other platforms if Twitter ads are going to appear on websites, and Twitter's going to appear more on Google.
Yeah. In this world, sort of 1 week ago is ancient history, isn't it? So it's very difficult to think back 3 months and see to remember what happened, you know, unless it's very dramatic.
We always have the archives to hold you to account, Masataki.
Darn it.
I mean, I would, far be it for me to remind you that I picked the lowest score, the lowest number of viewers for Allo.co,
Yeah.
and yeah. It's not my fault. I'm always right.
Ooh.
You know, when my first wife left me, she said, I said, why? And she said, because you're always right. I said, is that my fault?
Isn't that so? The gender roles are usually the opposite, isn't it?
We're sitting out here in a park in Adelaide at the moment. I don't know if you can see the Ferris wheel behind Tony.
In between us. Oh yeah, hi Duck. A big delay there. Not moving.
Okay, well look, I think, oh yeah, Massey, you see there, we're in a, it's not an amusement park, but it just about is.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we still have a kindly person that's watching us today. We thank you very much. we're just about to go to Green Room, and we'd like to have you join us. I'll put a link directly into this Hangout in the Social Media Fridays community, and yeah, we'd love to have you pop in and chat as we go off the air. We'll be back next Friday to do this all again. Maybe we'll have more to talk about then. Until then, thank you very much.